My name is Commissioner Frank Avilla, and I'm a commissioner at the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago. And today, the name of our show is Pigs on Drugs. And with me, I have as our guests, well, we have three guests, is Wanda Leopold. And Wanda Leopold is the president of Organic Networking, founded in March 2005. Wanda is the expert in connecting organic farmers with restaurants. So if anyone out there that has an organic farm and it has a restaurant here in the Chicagoland area, contact Wanda Leopold because she is the expert in connecting organic farms with the restaurants. Our second guest is Larissa McKenna. Larissa is FACT Associate Director and previously served as a coordinator of the Keep Antibiotic Working Coalition. She has a Master's of Public Health degree in Environmental Health and a Master's degree in Food, Agriculture, and the Environment from Tufts University. And as I mentioned, she's a coordinator for Keep Antibiotic Working. And our third guest is Richard Wood. Richard Wood is the Executive Director of FACT, Food Animal Concern Trust, based in Chicago, coming to this position in 1995. During the last few years at FACT, Mr. Wood helped organize Keep Antibiotic Working, a national coalition addressing agricultural use of antibiotics. He's also represented consumer groups and successfully negotiating an agreement with the FDA and the egg industry to require salmonella testing on all United Egg farms. Mr. Wood is also leading effort to improve the national response to the threat of mad cow disease, and he directs FACT's new research project on dairy farms in the Southwest to identify management steps that will improve cow health and farms. Mr. Wood received both Master's in Theology and Doctor of Ministry degree from Wesley Theological Seminary in Washington, D.C., and served as FACTS under a special appointment from the United Methodist Church. I'm glad to have you on my show. And as I mentioned, the name of our show is Pigs on Drugs. And you know, Wanda, why do you have your group networking, organic networking, and why are you involved with Pigs on Foods, this group?
Well, I started my business in 2005 in order to help family farmers, organic family farmers, get their product to market to grocery stores and restaurants. And I actually met Rich at the Family Farm Trade Show at Navy Pier. So we go back a little while, and I remember meeting him at the party, the fundraising party, and talking about his group. And I said, well, organics are finally hitting Chicago, and I'm going to work for the farmers. So we've kept in touch all these years, and it's been great.
Well, I'm glad that you met Rich, because I met you, and through you I met Rich Wood. And now, besides meeting you, I also met Larissa McKenna. And Larissa, why are you involved? You have a Master's of Public Health degree in Environmental Health. And is this what you like to do to help society, help us save the world?
Well, I mean, this is antibiotic resistance, which we'll probably talk about a little bit more. It's a major public health threat, and it's not being addressed from the agricultural sector as much as it is from the human side of things. So this is a perfect example of where agriculture and environment and public health all connect. So it's something that I've studied, and I hope to, change.
Now, Rich, what is FACT's mission? And FACT stands for, again, Food Animal Concern Trust.
Well, FACT is concerned about how food is produced, how the animals are treated, and what benefits it has for consumers. FACT's mission is to improve the welfare of farm animals. We address public health concerns related to the safety of meat, milk, and eggs. We're concerned about broadening economic opportunities for family farmers, and also about reducing environmental pollution. So we want to connect good farming practices with healthy people, and that's why it's a delight to be here also with Wanda, who's about that at a very direct end, and Larissa working on it from a policy end, and FACT putting it all together.
And what are you working to accomplish then?
Well, on antibiotics, what we are working to do is...
And Sherry, could you please show the slide 8 on keep antibiotics working?
Larissa and I work with a coalition of a number of consumer, agriculture, environmental, and public health groups that together have a constituency of about 9 million people across the nation. And we're dedicated to eliminating the routine use of antibiotics in food animal production, because when you use antibiotics routinely over long periods of time on healthy animals, you're creating resistant bacteria that then get passed on to consumers and becomes a public health threat.
Now in chart 9, you have a chart, a pie chart, and it shows in the pie chart the percentage of antibiotics used in the United States.
Right.
And Sherry, there's a pie chart on the screen. Could you explain that?
You bet. The problem, we're not at all opposed to antibiotics being used to treat illnesses in animals, antibiotics used therapeutically. Of course, there are niche markets where in organic agriculture you're not to use antibiotics at all. But this coalition is coming together around a concern not over therapeutic uses, but over non-therapeutic uses. And what that means is when antibiotics are simply used to make the animal grow a little bit faster or to prevent disease when animals are raised in horrible conditions. And so that's called non-therapeutic uses. And 70% of all antibiotic uses in the U.S. are used simply to prevent disease or to promote growth in animals. 70% is used non-therapeutically with farm animals. And as you know, the doctor tells you always when you take antibiotics to complete the dose and to take the full dose.
Yes.
Well, with farm animals, with this 70%, the dose is very low, put in the feed and water, and fed over a prolonged period of time. The consequence is that resistant bacteria results. And when you're like me, you rush home from work, you go to the freezer, you pull out a pork chop, you throw it in the microwave, then you cook it a little bit, you sit down and eat it before the evening news is over. Chances are that you're eating resistant bacteria.
Which has an effect on the human being.
That's right, and then it stays within us, and then if I were to get sick from a foodborne illness, went to the doctor, they give me an antibiotic, and guess what? It's not going to work.
Right.
It's not going to be as effective.
And they're putting this in livestock, like in slide 10, and in slide 11, human beings, and Sherry's going to have it on the screen, and this is what you're talking about.
That's right. 11 million pounds of antibiotics are used subtherapeutically in low doses for hogs alone in the U.S. Around 11.5 million pounds are used in broilers as well. And they're learning how to move away from that. But right now, there are as many antibiotics used in low doses in Iowa alone as are used in humans across the nation for treating real disease in humans. And that's not right. We want our food to be safe.
And as they use more of it, and as we eat it, our resistance is going to become lower, and then they have to invent more drugs then, right? Because they have to invent a drug to overcome this antibiotic resistance that we have.
That's right. We're talking about the basic antibiotics, the penicillins,
the tetracyclines, everything that your doctor might give to you. 7 different classes.
7 different classes? And you know, and that also has an effect on the environment, because as they give it to a livestock, any livestock, pig, cattle, chickens, they have to eliminate that also.
That's right.
And it goes into the soil, or it goes into runoff into our streams, and then our streams get polluted.
That's right. What they're finding, I mean, so you feed 11 million pounds of antibiotics in low doses to pigs. They excrete half of that into the lagoons and the manures and all, and then that runs off. And so not only do we have a concern about eating food produced that way, but it does impact the environment as well through their excretion of those antibiotics and the residues that are left. It goes into the water, into the groundwater, it goes into the environment, and then it becomes